take the webcam and put it down here. What do you think? I think webcam on the bottom is the best, right? That works. That works. Because that way I can code. And let's move this over. I don't know, dude. I don't know. You didn't do shit. You didn't do shit. I don't know why you got timed out. If you got timed out, dude, it wasn't me. It was the bot or something like that. Alright, let's put this up fucking here really quickly. Is this too... Hang on a minute. Just give me 1 second here. I think that's pretty good. You can see it now, right? Let me move this up a little bit, maybe? Kick me, sir. What are you talking about, dude? No one's kicking you. It's got to be the bot doing it or something. Hang on a minute. Is that gonna fit? Like, I have the worst. Oh, that works. That works. Okay, that works. Alright, cool. That works. Awesome, that works. Alright, so I'm gonna teach you guys how to code stuff. It's gonna be pretty fun. So basically, the way coding works, please kick me? What the fuck are you talking about? Do you want to be banned from the stream? Like, what is the deal? Hang on, I should probably turn the music off too because it's easier to explain this shit to you guys. I don't know what the fuck you want from me, bro, but I mean, I could ban you if that's what you want. I don't understand what the fuck your deal is. Awesome, like you're just like you have two of the same names, like they're done, bro, whatever. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So I'm gonna teach you guys a little bit about how to like code stuff, if you guys are willing to listen a little bit and kind of learn, because we're creating stuff, dude. We're coding. We're gonna have a code off too in the future. We're gonna have a code off. So, all right, let's fucking do this shit. Let me explain some functions and stuff like that to you, because this is shit that I really enjoy a lot. I greatly enjoy coding, and they're actually gonna start teaching this in school and stuff like that. So I incredibly enjoy this. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna teach you guys how to code stuff. So let me load up Notepad really quickly. Make sure I get Notepad on the shit. You can see it. So I'm gonna explain functions like one at a time, right? So basically, let's start off with like the base things in HTML and all HTML forms. So HTML3, HTML4, HTML5, etc. The main thing is there's a header, a body, and a footer. But the body consists of a header and a footer, right? You can have stuff in between like scripts. You can have JavaScript. You can have CSS. You can have jQuery. All that stuff included in the base HTML. But HTML basically is its basis is basic HTML. TJ, thank you for following, dude, but it's not gonna get you unbanned. Alright. So on here is like the different things you can set up too. So for example, if I wanted to be a scummy son of a bitch, I could remove this, right? I could remove this entire doc type HTML shit. I could completely remove this and remove the license, even though it's free and it's a non-commercial license. We're not going to publish any of this online, so I'm just showing you guys how you would go about doing that. If you wanted to remove the license, you would just have to remove several different lines here. Also, for the title, you don't even have to change anything. I can set this title right now to, let's just name this the Armored Doges, just for an example. We can leave everything alone the same way. Like, for example, we can leave the text and everything like that. We can change the font later. We're not going to do that right now. So basic things you're going to need to do is like you're going to want to change the title, and you're going to want to change things like for basic things you're going to want to change stuff like this. So this is basically this is the H1. This is basically the first header of inside the header. So what we're going to do is we're just going to change this to, instead of saying eventually, it's just going to say Doge. Now it's where it says a simple template for telling the world blah blah blah. We're going to take this out. We're going to take this out right here, and we're going to name this the Armored Doges. And we're going to take this part out because I don't mind it saying brought to you by. So we're going to leave that on there. This is for a hyperlink. So href is hyperlink reference. So it's a reference link to like a hyperlink. So you're going to want to put this in here as whatever you want the hyperlink to be. So the hyperlink in this case is going to be the Armored Doges. So I'm just going to put twitch.tv says the Armored Doges, right? Then we're gonna just name this just Doge, because that's a lot easier to do. Now on here is like an email form that you really don't have to do anything, but what you can do to set this up, it's incredibly easy to do, so we'll just show you how to do that. What you're gonna want to do is you're gonna put email type as email, name as email, and then it's like where it says placeholder here, and you see email address, stuff like that. Basically, what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to have people be able to submit their email to sign up for the newsletter. So you're gonna leave the input type as email and the name as email, which is fine, right? What you're gonna change is this placeholder where it says the email address. So when they sign up, they're gonna sign up to and send an email to this email address, which is actually sent to a real email address. I don't mind if you guys see that, but that's just an example email address, and just make sure I can show you guys it works. Now the button will show up as sign up, so you're going to be signing up for the mailing list from that email address, which is fine. Now on here there's different stuff like that where you can set things. For example, you can set like the footer. So this is your footer. So this is going to be the bottom links on here. So this is the link to. Why do you keep I'm just like going to turn off the follow. Can you stop, bro? Like it's not even cool anymore. Anyways, so on here what you do is you can name. We're going to just label this Twitter, right? But right here, there's already a placeholder for where you can put your own Twitter. So it's already pre-designed. So we're going to go onto here, and instead of the normal placeholder, we're going to name this twitter.com, and my Twitter currently is such Doge tweets. So we're going to put that in there, right? Now this is Instagram. I do still have an Instagram, so I'm going to put this as instagram.com/armordoge. And then we're going to go onto here where it says GitHub. I currently don't have a GitHub, but I really enjoy the CEMU GitHub. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto cemu.info, make sure I get the right address for their GitHub, which is right on here. So you could have whatever GitHub you want, or you could just like take that button out if you wanted to. I'm personally going to add the CEMU GitHub just for a reference. I don't know if it's on here, but maybe I can get onto the destroy all Windows 10 spying thing or something. That's no problem at all. I'm still going to explain this shit to anybody else that wants to know, because I have fun doing this. This is really enjoyable for me to do, and it's just like I can do really advanced stuff, but I just like it. I've always loved coding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in another GitHub, and the GitHub is going to be its number. Yeah, I'm going to set the GitHub to github.com/number. So that's the GitHub that we'll go to. He's a really good guy, a really good friend of mine that makes an app called Destroy All Windows 10 Spying. He also makes a lot of other really, really useful apps. Now, Facebook icon, same thing. I'm going to put my Facebook in here. So you can actually set these links as HTTPS if you wanted to, so let's make sure it's on a secure link, so I always do that if I can. So I'm going to type in facebook.com/superduper.bit. Now on here there's other things like you can do credits. So instead of the credits, I'm going to put the credits as my actual Twitch URL. And then we're just going to put the credit as Doge. Now this template that I got already has like a pre-installed like a color changer, so it's going to change colors immediately as soon as you load it, which is pretty cool. So you can just edit this and then just set it up exactly the way you want. So as soon as I run this in an actual web page, this is what you get out of that. All that code, you end up with this. So I'm just going to name this Chrome really quickly. Oh, wrong one. Oops, my bad. Alright, let's save it really quickly. So when you go back into the folder where you've got the index.html, now that I've edited it, it's going to look a lot different on the actual website, a lot different than it would normally look. So Now that I've edited all of the frames and everything like that, it's going to show up like this. So that's what the website is going to look like now, right? So if I wanted to put that upwards immediately on my web, if I set a website, I would already immediately have a website created. Now on here, I fucked this up a little bit, and I didn't set the copyrights as, copyright still says untitled, credit still says Doge, So all you do is you just go back onto your thing and you figure out where you messed up. So where I messed up was I fucked up the hyperlink. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go onto here and I am going to find out where I messed up the thing, right? So it was right around here, and what I did is I didn't have a bracket, another bracket. So I'm going to put the other bracket in. Now the credits were untitled currently. So what we're going to do is under credits, we're going to put this credits as Doge. And instead of having the Doge at the end, I'm going to cut the credits as Doge. And then I'm going to remove this other Doge here. So instead of the Doge being on the other side, it's going to be on the front. And then it's going to have a link to the Twitch. So I'm going to put a space in between here, and I'm going to save this. Now when we go back into the Chrome window that we have the website loading, then we just hit refresh. Because F5 on your keyboard. Now it says untitled credits Doge, right? So we fixed the credits part. Now where it says copyright untitled, we got to figure out where that is. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our Notepad file too, because Notepad's really easy to do coding. You can just use the Notepad. We find out where it says the copyright, right? So the copyright is right here, where it says the copy. Instead of putting copyright, it's just short phrased into copyright. So what we're going to do is we're going to name this Doge. And then we're going to save this again. Now it's the same thing. When we go back into the Chrome window, we hit F5 on it. There we go. Copyright Doge, credits Doge. That's how easy it is to do. And then on top, in terms of this, so when it says brought to you by Doge, it has a little line underneath it, and it goes. You can hover over it, and it shows my website. Now this overlay is color changing too. So if you wanted to say and all these are like pop out little buttons too, which are really cool, right? But say you wanted to have a background in the background, right? Say you love the colors, but you want to have a background. So the only thing you need to do in terms of a background is all you would do is find out a good place for this. So if you start this around the body, anywhere in the body, you're fine. What you do is you type in, you go into here, and you're going to want to type in image. And you're going to do one image, and you're going to do image equals. Actually, you can actually do something else too, which is called body background. So this is going to be the entire thing too. So I'll actually show you this too. So there's a couple different ways you can have an HTML5 background. So I'm just showing you guys a whole bunch of different ways you can do this. You can do this in all kinds of different browsers. There's CSS, you can do it. If you do this in HTML, it's pretty simple. In terms of images on HTML, it's really simple to do. So you can actually just scroll down to it. There's lots of different websites you can do, like W3 Schools has really good stuff like that. So basically all you need to do here, right, is you're going to do the image source, and then you're going to close the bracket out, right? So say for example, to make this very, very, very basic, say for example you just wanted to have something that's in the same folder, but you wanted it to show up. So you can use either image source or background, whatever you want to do, right? So let's say that we actually just want to just get used to using the image source one, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this part right here that we need. So image source equals. Now we're going to close this out. It's not a big deal to copy and paste code because a lot of it is generic. We're going to put this in here as image source equals. Then we're gonna find a background that I already had in the folder. So I already had a one called Doge original.jpg. So what I'm gonna do is image source Doge original.jpg. It's actually .png, sorry, it's actually .png. So we're gonna say this .png. Then we're just gonna close the bracket out, right? Now, if this doesn't work, we're gonna have to figure out what the issue is. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna just go back immediately to our browser where we have the website loaded. Where the fuck is it? Oh, I think I actually meant to close it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back. We're gonna load Chrome again. So you see this right here, and we're gonna press F5, and there you go. So the background is there, but you notice that it's not aligned properly, right? And if it's not aligned properly, what you can do instead to make sure that it's aligned properly is there's a couple different things you can do in terms of the size. So instead of just having this as image source equals Doge original.jpg, what we're going to do instead is we're going to adjust the dimensions of this image, because the image is overlapping on everything else. Now, we're going to take this up a step farther though, and we're going to make this a body background. So I'm actually like, say, hey, I don't know how to make a body background. So what I'm going to do instead is, because I don't know how to do a body background, I'm going to look this up. So I went, say I'm just learning for the first time, so I don't know how to do this. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to Chrome, and we're going to look this up again. We're going to be like, okay, I don't exactly know how to do this. Okay, this is a little bit messed up. Full screen this. Alright, so say, hey, I don't know how to make a body background. I wonder how to do this. Let's Google it, because like it's not a big deal if you do this. If you're first learning, you're gonna have to be doing this a lot to figure stuff out. So instead of image source was overlapping, right? So we're gonna take this, we're gonna take the same command, but we're just gonna copy it, and where we have this Doge original.png, we're going to replace that with this command, but the part where it says Doge original.png we're going to be changing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our notepad. I'm going to X this out for a second. Go back to notepad, and where this says image source equals, we're going to take this part out. We're going to put this, we're going to change this to, we figured out that it's body background equals. We're going to save this. And we're going to attempt to try it again on the same browser. So we go back to Chrome, which just doesn't appear to want to work again for some fucking reason. Anyways, we're going to close these out. We're going to close these out because we figured out how to do a body background. Okay, so the body background didn't seem to work. So we're just gonna figure it out. Basically, it's just like a lot of trial and error. A lot of things is not gonna line up immediately. So we're gonna look up HTML5 body background again, just make sure we get it right. Now to set this up, it's body space background. So I already had messed it up, and I also didn't put brackets between the things. So this is stuff that you'll learn as you do it, right? And what can happen is, it can happen to everybody. Like, you can have your brackets messed up. As you get better at coding, you're going to have the ability to know immediately what you did wrong and what you messed up with your coding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to body background equals, and then that's going to be the body background, right? Then what we're going to do is we're going to click the save button again, and we're going to go back into our Chrome. We're going to go back to Chrome and see what it's like. So we got this one opened, and we got this one open, right? I refreshed it, boom, it's working perfectly now. The only thing it is so say like you don't really like the fact that it's on the side here, right? It's overlapping. What you can do instead of that is say I don't really mind if these are over here, but I would rather prefer these ones are in the middle, right? What you do is you find the part of that. So this is the header that this is doing this, right? And all you do is you go to where it says the header, We're going to go to the top of this header. We're going to scroll over just so our code can be neat and tidy. We're going to do center, and we're going to go to the bottom. We're going to go right before the bottom of the header, and then we are going to type /center. Now this is going to center all of the stuff that we have. Like all of this frame is going to be centered. So as you can see, this entire frame is now centered. Now what we're going to have to do is say I want to center everything else, right? So we're going to have to figure out where the email box is. So the email box is right here. We're going to go to sign up form. So if we can show you that right now. So here's the sign up form. This is what I did. I did centered that one. We're going to center this one. We're going to go to the end of this one. We're going to make sure our code is nice and tidy, and we're going to type /center again. And then if all goes well, we're going to check and make sure that works first. We're going to save this. We're going to go back to our Chrome, which doesn't appear to want to fucking load again, but regardless, if it doesn't, we can't do much about that. So we're going to reload the Chrome browser again because it doesn't apparently want to fucking show up as in my thing. We're going to load that one we have right there. Now we're going to hit the F5 button again. Now, sometimes it doesn't want to align properly, right? But say you're thinking about it and you're like, you know, I really don't care too much about an email box. I mean, it would be cool if I had it, but I don't care too much about it. Or maybe there's some way that I can set this up differently. So say, you know, or just say outright, hey, maybe I don't want a fucking email sign up box. Like, I don't need that, right? But I want the footer. So what you're going to do is we're going to have remove that. So as soon as we remove this and we click save, it's a clean remove, so everything was removed out of that. Then we're going to hit refresh, and there we go. It's completely gone. Now this part in the footer is not centered, and you know, depending on how much you have OCD, that might piss people off. Like, it pisses me off because it's not centered and I don't like it. So what we're going to do is we still want all those buttons there. So we got to figure out how we can put this in here and make it centered. And make it so that it's not very much above everything else. Or very much below everything else. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to figure out where all of this spacing is coming from. So because it's on the footer, it's at the bottom of the thing too, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to change this off of footer ID. So we're going to take this off of footer ID. This is not even going to be a footer. This is just going to be center frames, right? So it's going to be centered in the middle of the page. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the very top of this, and we will just not have a footer. We'll have the other things on the footer, or we just will not have a footer. We're going to center this, and then we're going to go to the bottom of this, and we're going to center it again. We're not going to, once again, we're not going to make this a footer, because if we make this a footer, it's going to be a lot at the very bottom of the page. We don't want that to happen. So we're going to go back and we're going to click save again. Now, if all goes well, this should have centered it in the center, which it did. And it's perfect because we're not relying on a footer now. So because of the fact that our footer is down here, two of our buttons are messed up, right? Which is okay, because we got to figure out where those other buttons are. So, because I centered it, but I fucked the buttons up on it, what we're going to do is these two buttons, we got to figure out where they're coming from. So these two little dots, we got to figure out where those are from and why they aren't lining up. So instead of like actually just centering two and then centering the other ones, instead what we're going to do is we're going to find out where it's breaking. So what we're going to do is we're going to center it from right here first, right? So we have a /ul and then we have a /ul here. So what we're going to do is instead we're going to try to remove a single /ul, which is basically similar to how lines work, but it's a slightly different, right? So it's like what we're going to do is we're just going to remove that because it's messing up and it's just additional code that we don't need. Now we tried to remove one, and now we're going to press F5 and see if it fixed anything. Sure enough, it fixed it, but those buttons are gone, which is not even that big of a deal. Now, in terms of like spacing, if you want it to be 100% even, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go onto here where it shows up and it's kind of not spaced properly. All we're gonna do with that is where it says the copyright thing. What we're gonna do is we're gonna slightly, instead of having to move absolutely everything, we're just gonna move a few things and just make it even. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this part where it says credits Doge and copyright Doge. What we're gonna do is we're gonna backspace it by like 1 backspace. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this one, we're gonna backspace this a little bit. We're gonna take this one, we're gonna backspace it a little bit. We'll leave that one the same. Basically, we're just gonna try to size this until it's completely even. So what I'm gonna probably do is remove the dot, simply because the dot adds additional space to it, and it's not worth not being aligned. So I'm going to remove this one. I'm going to remove an additional space in the Doge, and I'm going to click Save. Now we're going to go back to our Chrome window, and if all goes well, it should be 100% aligned. It's pretty close to being aligned, but the problem is Doge is just too big, right? So what we're going to do is, instead of making this credits equals Doge, we're going to slightly change this a little bit. So copyright, we're going to change this to copyright Doge, and we're going to just make this Doge Doge LLC or something, right? Basically what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing when you're trying to get everything set up right. So that's pretty even too, right? But the problem is now the copyright sign tends to be bigger than anything else. So what we're going to do instead is, instead of moving these ones around, all we're going to do is we're just going to leave it to copyright Doge or Doge LLC. So we're going to take this part. Probably the best one is just Doge LLC, right? Copyright Doge LLC. So instead of making this so fucking huge, we are just going to remove this part where it says copyright Doge, and there's the /LE, right? We're going to take this out. We are going to take the other LI out. We're going to rename this Doge LLC and have the hyperlink the same as it was, /A. And then we're just going to click the save button again because it's perfect now. So we're going to click save again. And the same thing, we're going to press F5 on the web page. So refresh it. There you go, copyright Doge LLC. Now, like I say, it still tends to align a lot to the right. So what we're going to do to make sure it doesn't so much align to the right, we want it to align to the left because of the fact that it's just too far to the right. So on here, normally it would be centering, but to make it so that it only centers part of it, and this part is not going to be centered, what we're going to do is we're going to take this part where it says the copyright, right? So we're going to take this out of here. We're going to make sure all of these frames center. So we're going to put this in here, make sure all your code is very even and like you're not using a ton of space, because that's really good, and make sure it's nice and clean. Then we're going to take this part here where it says the copyright, and instead of it being centered, what we're going to do is we're going to type align equals left. So now it's going to be aligning to the left. We're going to go to the bottom of here, and we are going to type in align equals right. Or sorry, align equals left. Oh, sorry, I'm fucking this up. We're going to type /align. So this is going to close out the brackets, and it's going to align to the left. So hopefully if this works, it's going to align to the left. So we're going to refresh to see if this works. Sure enough, it aligned to the left, but not the right way that we wanted it to do, right? So instead of doing that, what we're going to do is we're just going to split this up a little bit. But instead of having it align, we're just going to make sure that it's 100% centered per frame. So what we're going to do is it's centering on that one. What we're going to do is we're just going to add an additional center to make sure the center is good. So the center, it seems to be centering like the whole entire frame. This is splitting the frame up into 2 separate frames and then making sure that it aligns properly. So now what we're going to do is we're going to backspace this because it's saving as much space in your code is a great idea. Leaving an additional space or 2 is fine, but limiting the amount of code that it takes is always a good idea. So we're going to try this again. And what it did was it messed up the bracket completely there, right? So we're just going to decide we're not going to have huge OCD about this today. So what we're going to do is just, like I say, we're going to just make sure that our code is nice and small. And we're just not going to be a completely OCD fuck about it, right? Because if you're like Doge, you have an incredibly bad OCD and you can't stop doing it. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave an additional space just for shits, because it doesn't really affect anything related to code. But we're going to backspace a little. So we're going to backspace 1 though, so we just don't have an additional space in between here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we tighten our code up a little bit. Alright, now we're going to click save, and we're going to try this out again and see what it looks like. So it's a little bit aligned to the right, but I don't have incredibly bad OCD about it, so I'm not too worried about it. Now, and to say, okay, I like that background, Doge, but it's not that great, right? Like, I like the background, but it could be a little bit different. So instead of, say like, hey, I want to try a different background, Doge. Like, I don't really like that one that much. It's like, I understand, bro. Like, you might not like it. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the notepad file again. Full screen it. And what we're going to do is we're going to edit this part where it shows the background image. So say we have the background image right now and it's Doge original.png it's pulling, right? Say it's like you don't really like that picture, right? You wanted a slightly different picture, right? Or a different, say you wanted a picture like a different picture of a different Doge. Or say, for example, that one didn't really fit and you wanted a background image that fits the whole frame. What I could do is I could go find a background image related to a Doge. So what I'm going to do is, instead of actually having one that I already have on my hard drive, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into window capture, and I'm going to capture my Chrome windows so that I can show you guys like what you can go in terms of getting another background. So what we're going to do is, like, this is locally, it's reading the web page, right? But instead of that, what we're going to do is we're going to type in Doge background. Now, say for example, this one I'm really digging, right? And I think this is pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to View Image. You're going to go to View Image. And this is a pretty massive background, so it should fit just fine. We are going to okay, that one has Heil Hitler in it for some reason. Alright. Anyways, say for example, I really like this background, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to View Image. It's relatively sized well. We're going to click Save. I'm just going to name this Doge Wallpaper. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find out where that downloaded to. So I already know where it downloaded to, my downloads folder. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure this is in the same folder as all the other files that you're going to need for this HTML file. Like what loads, what scripts load, JavaScript, all that stuff. Make sure it's all in there. If you're coding yourself, it's probably going to be pretty basic until you start coding other stuff in the future. We're just going to put that image in there, and instead of naming this thing normally as Doge original.png, we're going to name this Doge wallpaper.jpg. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back into here. We're going to close this out. Now that we're back onto Notepad, we're going to click Save. Now this should be 100% finished now. So what we're going to do is we're going to close the Chrome window again. We're going to open it. Once I get this loaded, we're going to know to open a new Chrome window. Brand new Chrome window from the start. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Add, No Capture. You're going to be doing the same thing when you're testing it out. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, my bad. So we're going to go to Add, Window Capture. Go to my Chrome, refresh, we're going to find this Chrome window. Now that I changed it to the other wallpaper, when I press F5, it's got the other wallpaper there too, right? But as you can see, my normal desktop resolution is 1920 by 1080. So the wallpaper doesn't fit. So that's an issue, right? So the resolution is causing the wallpaper to not fit. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to go down to Doge background, and we're going to type in 1920 by 1080. Now this one is 1920 by 1080, and it looks like it would be pretty good, and it would fit really well with the theme and the colors of the theme. So the one that I found, now that I got it downloaded, same thing, I'm going to put this into the folder, but instead of actually just making a new wallpaper, all I am going to do is I'm going to be like adding a new wallpaper. I'm going to do is I'm going to name this Doge wallpaper.jpg again. I'm going to cut this out of here, put this into the folder where that template is, which is here. I'm going to paste it in there, replace with in the file destination or whatever. And then now all I have to do is I click save, and it's already copied and replaced, so it will change the wallpaper immediately as soon as I get it. It's going to do it on the fly as soon as I F5, right? So we're going to go back into our Google Chrome. So I'm going to be adding another window capture when you type in Chrome. And yeah. So as soon as I click F5 now, boom, a wallpaper that fits. Awesome, it fits and it goes with the theme. And everything is working, and the color changing is working, and all the stuff is working, and it's perfect, right? Nothing is messing up, all the colors are changing, it looks awesome. It looks really cool, right? And that's how easy it is. And the basic thing is too, with in terms of like the JavaScript, incredibly basic that it does. All it does is it just change colors. It's just basic JavaScript. Basic JavaScript causes it to change colors just slightly. It looks really good. It's good on the eyes. You can see that it's changing colors slightly. We're perfect. So it took a little tiny bit to set stuff up, but that's how easy it is to code things. So, you know, like the basic of this JavaScript is basically just a randomizer, like a color randomizer, and it's incredibly simple to do. So there you go. That's how you make a very good simplified website. You don't need to pay anybody to do this, and you can do this on your own for like no money at all, and it's incredibly easy to do. I think you guys know that now, so I'm pretty happy about that. If no one watched this stream at all, it's fine. I'm happy that I could show you guys how to build a website. It looks like the stream is pretty dead today. So I'm probably going to be, I'm not really feeling Clash of Clans today, so I will probably be on either later on or tomorrow. I'm still going to be uploading this definitely to, I'll still definitely upload this to YouTube, because I think it's really cool and it's awesome that you can go into the creative channel and you can just create stuff. That's awesome. I will be on tomorrow, guys. I apologize that the stream I was not streaming Clash of Clans a lot. I hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to be hanging out in a bunch of different places today, talking to a whole bunch of people that I haven't connected with a lot. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I apologize there's no stream. Bye.